does belong.
An artifact found in Africa can never belong to Britain in any way.
These artifacts, who do they belong to? They belong to the museums where they are now.
Centuries, Africa has endured the heartbreaking loss of its invaluable artifacts, stripped away by colonial powers and collectors driven by greed. These stolen treasures, imbued with immense cultural and spiritual significance, represent the very essence of African heritage. Their removal from their rightful homes stands as a haunting testament to the deep injustice inflicted upon African communities.
Now, it's been more than a century since treasures were looted by British soldiers from Ghana. Many of them hold huge cultural and spiritual significance. Now, in a landmark agreement, the Victoria and Albert and British Museums in London are returning them on loan to the Ashanti King. Culture editor Katie Razzle has this exclusive report.
There is anger. People look at it in colonial terms. Looting of items, precious items belonging to people, items that they don't easily forget.
Gold from the royal court of the Ashanti Kingdom, which was once one of Africa's most powerful states. These objects and many more were looted by British troops in the Ashanti capital Kumasi in 1874 during the Third Anglo-Ashanti War. Sold at auction then, now they're going back to Ghana for the first time in 150 years.
Loaning back stolen artifacts instead of just giving them back? That's what the UK is doing with these cultural artifacts. They were taken by British troops during colonial times from Ghana's Asante royal court. 32 items will be returned under a 3-year loan agreement, with the option to extend for a further 3 years. The Victoria and Albert Museum is lending 17 objects, and the British Museum 15. Both are in London. Some of the pieces are part of the Asante royal regalia and are of great historical and spiritual importance to Ghana. The loan agreements were not made with Ghana's government, however, but with the current Asante king, known as Asante. For the first time after 150 years, many of the gold artifacts will be shown in Ghana. The objects will be displayed in the Manshia Palace Museum in Kumasi, the capital of the former Asante Kingdom. But why just lend them back? Some national museums in the UK are banned by law from permanently returning contested items. The British government has released guidance advising cultural institutions that are holding contested assets to keep them and explain the historical background. But in recent years, calls for stolen items to be returned are growing. What do you think? Should the UK change the law and give away ownership?
To loan back stolen Ashanti golden crowns under a long-term leasing agreement. They loaning back some shit they acknowledging they stole. I read this at first and thought it was fake, so I looked it up. Sure enough, I seen the articles, man. UK to loan back Ghana's looted crown jewels. The next time you hear about people talking African countries and about how their infrastructure messed up or about how they in poverty, remember this story right here. Countries that colonize those countries have interest in making sure they stay destabilized. Because how in the hell else you gonna let me loan you back some shit that I stole from you? The items to be loaned, most of which were taken during the 19th century wars between the British and the Asante, include a sword of the state, gold badges worn by the officials, charged with cleansing the soul of the king. And just to sprinkle a little context in it for the people in the back, historically speaking, Ghana and that area of Africa was known as the Gold Coast. I read that they had so much gold on the king, they would have a servant that walked around just to make sure he can help hold his hand up during handshakes because he was buzzed down. This is the part that make your butt itch right here, because it's like what the coloniality is going on. However, Mr. Hunt insisted the new cultural partnership is not restitution by the back door, meaning it's not a way to return permanent ownership to back to Ghana. The 3-year loan agreements with the option to extend for a further 3 years are not with the not the Ghanaian government, but with an individual that is the current king, known as the Asante, who attended the coronation of King Charles last year. See, what happened was the Asante people built one of the most powerful and formidable states in West Africa, trading among others gold, textiles, and enslaved peoples. In fact, did y'all know that the Ghanaian government recently apologized to the descendants of enslaved Africans for their contribution to the old Atlantic slave trade? Back to the point though. My question to y'all, can you loan objects back to a country they say you stole from you? Sadly, it's a solution to UK legal restrictions that may not be acceptable to countries which say they want their shit back in historical wrongs. Education is elevation. Tell me what y'all think.
When I tell you, the audacity of the British government is beyond anything. They are the biggest thieves in the world. First of all, let's talk about the fact that the British Museum is filled with nothing that belongs to Britain. Not a single thing. If you cleared out every single thing in that British Museum that did not belong to the British people, it would be an empty building. They're the biggest thieves in the world. If I was Ghana, I would say, okay, let's agree to this loan and then never give it back to them. What they're going to do, invade over a crown? Try it. It wasn't even yours to begin with. Try it if you dare. And what makes it even worse is the UK apparently has laws in place to prevent museums from giving back items that were stolen from these countries. So they have these loans in place to have these countries get back the items that were stolen from them as a loan, and then you could extend it years later if the British government agrees. I'm telling you, these African countries need to stop playing nice with these colonizers.
UK has agreed to return the 32 stolen artifacts that they stole from Ghana, and which includes gold artifacts. But there's a big but in the situation. It's not even being hidden. These people are acknowledging that yes, we stole these artifacts, and yes, we passed a law that nobody is going to take this artifact that we stole. Any stolen artifacts that we have stolen from any part of this world, it is our own. We can only loan it to the people that we stole it from. Of course, these people know that we stole it, so it can only be loaned to them. Like forcefully telling in these people's faces that yes, it's your own, we stole it, but we're not going to give it back. Because there is a permanent law passed by our government that we should not give back what we stole. The audacity and what these people are teaching the upcoming generation, or even other people, other African people, that stealing is a thing, is a normal thing. Hey, the girls must be crazy. That they can go ahead and steal and pass a law in your country that nobody should dare come and take that thing. In fact, the only thing you can do for those people that you stole their thing is to loan it to them. And after a period of time, they should give it back. If not, they should be expecting the worst from what you stole from them.
British museums are returning gold and silver artifacts to Ghana under a long-term loan arrangement 150 years after the artifacts were looted from the Asante people during Britain's colonial battles in West Africa. Now, y'all fools got some nerve thinking that you got the right in the first place. We need them boys immediately and expeditiously. What kind of made-up contract is that? There they go, making up terms and conditions. In 150 years, we'll give it back. Oh yeah, y'all doing this in good timing right now because the whole of the West is in trouble. Do y'all know what's happening in Burkina Faso and Niger? How Ibrahim Traore, the youngest head of state in the world, said the French and Macron gotta get out. They kicked them out of the French embassy. They told their soldiers they had till December of 2023.
UK that prevents returning stolen artifacts.
Gonna be like, you should be happy that they're even returning it. No, y'all should be happy that y'all haven't gotten what you deserved in retaliation yet. But it's coming. It's coming.
3 museums are going to loan 30 items to Ghana. These items were actually looted from the Asante Kingdom, which is present-day Ghana, in the 19th century. The loan is a minimum of 3 years. So imagine you stole something, you're going to let the owner then borrow it. That's what's happening. So just hearing that alone makes sense to how Israel is just a colony of the UK because, apple tree. And of course, the director says this is not a way for the UK to return permanent ownership to Ghana. There's actually laws in the UK that prevents returning stolen artifacts. They have laws for that because they know what's going to happen. They knew that eventually these countries that fought for their freedom and were brutalized by the UK are going to want their stuff back. With that being said, I don't see how Ghana can just not give it back. What are they going to do? Send an army over? How is that going to look? The director, and I quote, says, "This is not restitution by the back door." They want to make it very clear that this is not a way of apologizing or giving back what's not theirs. And the interesting is, they didn't even make this deal with the government of Ghana. They made the agreement with Otumfu Oosseee Tutu II, who is the current Asante king, who also attended King Charles' coronation. So obviously they have an in with a person there that they trust. And according to Nana, who is the special advisor to Ghana's cultural minister, they're not just objects. They have spiritual importance as well. They are part of the soul of the nation. It's pieces of ourselves returning. So should the UK just forget about it and like just sever your ties with these stolen artifacts? Like, I don't understand their obsession with holding. This reminds me of France, who held on to skulls of martyred Algerian soldiers for decades. And it took them decades to return skulls. This obsession, this collection, isn't that what serial killers do? They keep prized or little trophies from their victims. Yeah,